Right now, I want to go to Matt Doherty, former UNC head basketball coach, a little claim to fame. Matt, am I right? Former roommate with Michael Jordan, so not just teammate, but roommate, or did I inflate that part of the resume?
Hallmate. I'd rather leave it, Mike, as a teammate. That makes it a lot easier.
There you go.
I gave him a lot of lobs and screens, and I'm still trying to get 10% of his yearly earnings from Air Jordan. We're in we're in deep negotiations. It's just very one-sided.
Yeah. I'm gonna say fat chance on that one. That one, but keep pushing. And he's got a podcast and TV show called The Rebound with Matt Doherty, which airs on Saturdays at noon on the First TV, which is where you can watch this show right now as we speak as well. Good to talk to you, Matt. Thanks for being here. What I love this idea. I love the theme of your podcast. It's not a basketball podcast, right? You're not talking about how to improve your offensive rebound. What do you mean by rebound?
Yeah, well, it started, I lost my job as the head coach at North Carolina, went from National Coach of the Year to 2 years being politely asked to leave, and went on a leadership journey and, rebounded from that and hopefully rebounded better. And I think that I really wanted to uncover rebound stories. So many people don't like to talk about failure. But I think we need to embrace failure. Nelson Mandela, one of my favorite quotes is, he says, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And I think that there's so much to learn in failure, and people are afraid to talk about it. So I wanted to bring that to light. And what it led me to was, you have people that rebound, but there are organizations and institutions that need to rebound. And I think now, one of the biggest institutions that needs to rebound is our country. So on the first, I started to go down a rabbit hole, if you will, and got some really interesting guests. I became very curious. I hated to read in high school and college. I love to read now. And I read a book, Controligarchs by Seamus Bruner, and got him on the show. And it was all about following the money, exposing billionaires who control the levers of power that dominate every aspect of our life. He's talking about Bezos, Soros, Gates, the Clintons, Obama. I do a radio show with Brett Winterbull on WBT in Charlotte, and I didn't understand why people wanted to damage our country. And when I read this book, I started to figure it out, and it led me to becoming more curious and getting to know Kash Patel. Kash Patel, former Trump administrative official, U.S. Security Council official, got him on the show. He wrote a book called Government Gangsters, and he's been on the show twice. Really candid, raw, honest stuff that I believe is the truth. And one thing I learned on my journey from rebounding was that we need to, as leaders, mine for the truth, because if we don't manage the truth will manage us right out the door. And I think as a country, we're being manipulated by the media. I never understood when people say, "Oh, the media is left-leaning." I'm like, why? Why are they left-leaning? Like, why? Like, why can't we get conservative voices out there? Why are colleges and universities left-leaning? Why can't we get conservative voices out there? And I really think as you go down this rabbit hole, it's scary. People don't like to talk about it, but it leads to socialism and communism. It's all about control and power. George Soros, a Hungarian Jew, makes billions of dollars in our country, but wants to, damage our cities. Why? Well, control and power. And then you read, and you continue to read, and you continue to read American Marxist and Karl Marx and the Communist Manifesto, and that playbook is coming alive, and it's about breaking up the nuclear family, eliminating religion, controlling the media, indoctrinating schools. That's happening. And we talk about this when I was in basketball. He's hiding in plain sight. We talk about prospects, players, hiding in plain sight. He's right there under your nose. He's a good player, it's happening and we're not paying attention. And I think that we're not paying attention. And I think the media is complicit in that.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here at Breitbart, of course, and the First. Talking to Matt Doherty, former UNC basketball coach. His podcast is called The Rebound, and it airs on Saturdays at noon on the First TV. I want to ask you about failing, and I want to ask you about lying. So real quick story on failing. My swim coach was big on telling us, don't be afraid to fail.
Right.
This is a big thing if you have a coaching mindset. Like, don't be afraid to fail. And he noticed over his many decades of coaching, we were near the end of his career, that his kids now were way more, they're scared. They were scared to be a failure in any way whatsoever. So just a quick story. Yesterday, I did a workout, and then I challenged myself to hold a 125-pound sandbag for 2 minutes. And I only did it for a minute. I failed. I was really ticked off, but I was sure to tell the kids when I picked them up from school that I tried to do a thing and I didn't do it.
Right.
And they said, well, what are you going to do now? I said, well, we're going to do it again tomorrow. We've got to get stronger. We've got to keep going. And I just want to encourage everyone the same as you are. Like, tell your kids about your failures. Because I don't know my dad's. I didn't know about him until after he died. People would tell me that, his company went bankrupt. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, how did he get back? I don't know. I wish I could have talked to him about that. But anyway, I want to talk to you about lying. So Tim Walz yesterday, I don't know if you got a chance to see the interview yesterday with Tim Walz and the rest.
I
But
did
he was
not.
asked about his stolen valor. You didn't see it yet? That's okay. He was asked about his stolen valor. And it was so obviously not copping to the truth. He's just lying. And I'm sure in your journeys of talking to people who have failed, lying was a part of that and part of their demise. And you can tell when someone has really repented. And I don't think you can fully rebound until you admit what you did and take accountability. And I just don't see any accountability in our culture today. Can you speak to that?
A friend of mine once said, vulnerability is the new invincibility. And I think when you admit to mistakes, like if he would say, hey, listen, I'm married, I've got grandkids on the way, and I was afraid of going to Iraq. And so, yes, I made a mistake. I regret that. Well, we can all relate to that. Like, I'm thinking, well, who wants to go to, right? You can relate to that. But when you cover it up with a lie, a friend of mine once said, you put enough under the carpet, you sweep it under the carpet. The pile gets so high, you'll trip over it. And he's tripping over his pile. There's character flaws. I would say this, okay? I know college basketball coaches that cheat on the golf course, right? And, let's noodle the ball, let's drop one out in the fairway, let's kick it out of a divot. Well, if they're going to do that, they're going to cheat on the NCAA. If they're going to cheat on their wives, there's no degree of, to me, I'm black or white. It's either black or white. You cheated or you didn't. You lied or you didn't. And if you're lying about that, what else are you lying about? It doesn't just stop there.
Teddy Roosevelt's Man in the Arena speech, I think it was, he said he fired a farmhand who stole a cow for him. And he said, if you'll steal for me, then you'll also steal from me.
Right.
And that's why he fired the kid. The kid was like, what do you mean? I'm trying to help you out. And he's like, no. I don't need people like you around here.
That's right. It's character. It is character flaws, and it's become acceptable because the leaders of our country, and that's what Trump said earlier. I heard on your ad, we need strong leadership, and leadership is being able to stand up against the grain when people are taking shots at you, literally, like Donald Trump on July 13th. Yeah. That's strong leadership. And trying to put him in jail in New York and coming out stronger, that's leadership. You don't have to like Trump. I tell people this all the time. You're not voting for Trump versus Harris. You're not going to have Trump over your house for dinner. All right? It's the republic. People talk about democracy. And I had this conversation with Jim Caviezel, who Passion of the Christ, and very conservative guy, and I said, yeah, we got to protect our democracies. No, we got to protect our republic. Democracy is, the most people win, right? Unanimous votes, the majority wins. We want to protect our republic, which is what our founding fathers came up with and makes the foundation of our country so special. That's what we need to protect.